Niners and Seahawks in a divisional round. Seattle's Sam Darnold is questionable after tweaking his oblique yesterday. Darnold said he felt a little something, but said that he will play. Darnold struggled against San Fran this year, failing to throw a touchdown in either contest. With George Kittle out, the Niners will lean heavily on Christian McCaffrey, who has found the end zone in all 8 of his playoff games, the longest streak to begin a career in NFL postseason history. The Seahawks are the #1 seed for the 4th time in franchise history. Each of the previous 3 instances resulted in Seattle reaching the Super Bowl, most recently in 2014. All right, let's welcome back Jeremy Fowler and Mina Kimes to the show. And Jeremy, not the best time for your quarterback to be dealing with injury, but what's the latest on Sam Darnold going into this weekend?
Yeah, so I checked in with somebody with the team. I'm told he is still scheduled to play, plans to play, no setbacks right now. So he had that little tweak during the practice yesterday. Could have kept practicing, but he figured, let me just rest a little bit, give my backup Drew Lock some precious reps. I know the 49ers are fully expecting Darnold to play, and they expect him to play well. They know they're going to have to frustrate him, fluster him in the pocket, try to get as many hands and hits on him as possible in a raucous environment in Seattle that's bound to be crazy.
Yeah, definitely going to be crazy out there in Seattle. I want to bring it to you. A lot of factors to consider in this matchup. Sam Darnold didn't throw a single touchdown against the Niners in the regular season, and San Fran dealing with a ton of injuries. What's going to be the deciding factor in this game?
Yeah, you hit it. It's that red zone offense. It's why the Week 18 game had a score that maybe didn't reflect how dominant the Seahawks were for much of the game, particularly obviously on defense. Missed field goals also factored into that, them only putting up 13 points. But going over 3 in the red zone was big. He had an opportunity to hit one of the Seahawks running backs, Zach Charbonnet, in the flat, and he didn't make the throw. I think he's going to have to hit those in this one. And this is an issue, by the way, that's been going on for longer. Weeks 1 through 9, Seattle ranked 3rd in red zone touchdown percentage, over 70% of the time. From week 11 onward, that dropped to 30th. So this is not just a single game issue for Seattle. They have been worse in the red zone. They're going to have to score more than they did, I believe, the last time to win this one.
And Jeremy, just really quickly, I mentioned those Niners injuries. How are they looking coming into this matchup?
Well, they've been pretty beat up. You got George Kittle, of course, is out. All their defensive players almost, it feels like they are out. But they should get some good news of Ricky Pearsall, who has been in and out of the lineup for most of the last couple weeks. He is questionable, but he is hopeful that he can try to go. Optimistic that he can get over the hump, suit up tomorrow. That'd be big news. Linebacker D. Winters is questionable, but they'll see how he feels over the next 24 hours.
Round 3 between these two teams. We'll see who gets the win when it matters most. Jeremy and Mina with the latest. Thanks so much. Jay, what you got?
Mina, I got our sports betting analyst, Anita Marks, back with us. So give us a prop, my friend, that you're playing in Niners Seahawks.
So I'm wearing my George Kittle t-shirt. Unfortunately, as Jeremy told us, he's going to be inactive, so not attractive. So Jake Tonges is going to step in a big way. I like over 36.5 receiving yards for him heading into this matchup. Why? Huge presence when George Kittle is not active. Missed 2 to 6, the weeks 2 to 6. Because of a hamstring injury. Tonges had a 16% target share, over 200 receiving yards, 2 of his 5 touchdowns. I'm expecting Seattle to go up early, so they're going to get an early lead. I think for the 49ers are going to be very pass happy. And the Seattle defense, they're pretty soft against opposing tight ends. Tight ends, 28% of the receptions, 8 most in the NFL, and they average 7.5 yards per reception. So Tonges, to me, I think he's going to have a big day. So I like the over in receiving yards, and if you can play him in DFS, run, don't walk, my friend.
All right, Anita Marks, thank you so much. Let's go back over.
Seahawks -7. Joe, best bets.
Laying the points with Seattle. Sam Darnold's kryptonite is pressure. Problem is San Francisco can't generate any. Since Nick Bosa went down with an injury in week 3, the Niners ranked 31st in the NFL in pass rush win rate. On the other side, San Francisco's only generated 20 total points against the Seattle defense this season. They won't have George Kittle. This is a brutal spot for the Niners. You got to play Sunday in Philadelphia and then travel back across the country for a Saturday game in Seattle against a team that's had 2 weeks to get ready. Seahawks roll here.
Last time they played, Kyle's offense only put up 173 yards and put up 3 points. It was the worst offensive output they've ever had. In 2 weeks, with short weeks, both of them, can they rally again? It might be asking too much. I hate this below us because the Niners have always proved us wrong this season. I just don't see it.
What do you think, Bart?
Well, when you talk about what happened in the last matchup, 13-3, Seattle was actually able to do something they never really do well, and that's run the football 180 yards. When you talk about, the defense of Seattle, they're probably one of the best units still left. Sam Darnold just doesn't have to mess it up. People forget, I think the key is going to be youth check. Because if they're going to be able to, people forget that he was a great tight end with the Baltimore Ravens before he came over, became a utility guy. Kittle is so great at helping them capture the edge of the defense to be able to get those outside runs. They shut McCaffrey down. It's going to be difficult, but it's going to have to be off some trick plays.
Lewis.
Yeah, look, I think Seattle's just too strong. I do. Look, defensively, Mike McDonald, he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. He should be up for Coach of the Year. He may very well win it. I think Sam just needs to do just enough, and I think Clint Kubiak will do just enough to make sure that he does not put this game in harm's way. I think Seattle wins this game.
Yeah, it's the physicality of Seattle's defense. They're strong, they're fast, they're physical, they're going to take over. Not enough offensively for San Francisco 49ers to be able to get this win and advance to the
And super quick for those who haven't been watching, the Darnold injury for people who don't know.
It's an oblique injury. He hurt it Thursday at practice, so that's just 2 days before game time. They're playing on a Saturday. Something to watch. I would risk note this. Kyle Shanahan, for all that coaching experience, Mike McDonald's first playoff game.
Good point.
I think that, we should go through a bunch of the angles of this, but off the jump of it,
I forget that Mina is a super Seahawks fan. Are you now that you've worked in media for so long, does it change? Because I remember watching games with you in the early days, and are you still like that watching the Seahawks, or has it changed?
No, I actually this season have been a lot more like. I think partially because they've been so good. But then he asked me that if it's like overtime and. I will say the Seahawks fan stuff. Nobody cared until this year with the MVP debate. I've gotten a lot of she's a Seahawks fan. That's why she's voting for Drake May, and I'm like, it's not at all. I like Matthew Stafford. Like I'm not. Yeah. Also, like the Rams, like they're not even like Seahawks fans don't really hate the Rams. Like it's not a thing. So anyways, not that I actually feel that way, but I'm invested. I think this one I feel like a combination of confidence and the dread that comes with confidence. Because just doing the matchup, they should win this game, right? Mm-hmm. Like the way I think we need to look at this game is like, what would it take for the Niners, who are obviously the biggest underdogs of the weekend, to pull off an upset, especially after we just saw them get stomped by this team in Week 18.
So what do you see as the path for that, Mina? If you were to engineer a 49ers path?
So it obviously turning Sam Darnold over is the formula, or forcing a fumble. And Seahawks' offense has turned over. They've had a lot of turnovers in the second half of the season, and because of that, they've really tried to protect Sam Darnold. And you saw that in Week 18. He barely threw the ball downfield. They were able to run the ball on San Francisco with some success. But I would say finding a way to turn him over, stopping the Seattle in the red zone was something they did in Week 18. It's a big part of why the score didn't really reflect how it felt. That and missed field goals, which would be another thing. Offensively, this was a lot harder for me, Dominique. I'd love to hear your thoughts, because I went back and I looked at, okay, did anything work for the Niners? Are there any weaknesses on the Seahawks defense to attack? The best thing I could come up with is find ways to attack Eamon in coverage. What do you think the Niners can do on offense?
So the funny thing is, the Niners, and this might sound a little silly, but the Niners are at their best when the picture is clean, because I think they are so scheme dependent. When they get the looks that they want, historically they've been a great play action team, and that shocked me when I looked at their play action numbers. They haven't been a great play action team this year, and they haven't been a great running team this year, which is when you think of Kyle Shanahan, or you think of the Shanahan name in general, you're you're going to run the ball, you're going to get some play action. This team is not good at either, really, not particularly good at either, which made it hard, because that's where I start, is this is what you want to do. Yeah. But I think the way that, if I were them, I would try to attack this Seahawks defense is you have to dictate to them, which is easier said than done. I see so often the formations and the personnel groupings that teams use and the alignments that they use are to protect against what the Seahawks do well. I think if they go 5 out and try to spread them out, you could go empty 5 out, but I'd be less concerned about the protection, or less concerned about the blitz, and more concerned about spreading that defense out and getting individuals in isolation. They cover incredibly well in groups. They destroy route combinations. I try to spread them out and pick matchups that you like, and put the tight ends and fullbacks on the outside. You try to create these linebacker matchups, especially on third down. They did it a little bit in the last time they played, where they mug on third down in order to dictate to you where your protection is going to go so they can create the matchups that they want. And I'd be less concerned about protecting against that mug and more concerned about because they mug and don't blitz. So the mug means they bring the linebacker up to the line of scrimmage and then they don't blitz, or sometimes they will blitz. I'd be less concerned about how we're going to protect if he does blitz and more concerned with how is he going to get out to his coverage responsibility if he doesn't blitz. And you're going to take some losses and be fine with it and move on. Because I think this whole game is going to be every play is going to have like a high shift in win probability, at least my own mental win probability, because it's going to be so hard for either team to score. And it shouldn't be hard for the Seahawks to score, but it seemed hard from last time. So, like, if there's a turnover, I'd just be playing those odds if I were them.
I don't know, though. I know it seemed hard for them to score because it was like the inefficiency in the red zone. The way they were able to move the ball, I feel like that was most likely just small sample. And if that game, I mean, I'm not saying that the coaching it'll be the exact same this time, but in that game, I think if those teams were playing that way, the score's not 13-3, 9 out of 10 times. That felt like a kicking with a smaller
scared.
gap.
It's like they had that first drive down the red zone, and Sam Darnold, I think he took a sack and then threw like a bad ball, and they had to kick.
You mean
a field
the Seahawks
goal.
offense got scared?
Yeah.
They were like the whole game. It was crazy to go on TV next day, and people were like, "Sam Darnold, prove." I'm like, what? Because that whole game plan was around protecting him, and he missed a touchdown. Also, he should have thrown a pick.
Darnold's been bad.
Yeah. So, look, Dominic, you talked about like trying to take advantage of like when the linebackers drop into coverage, and I think there was this team that had a lot of success doing that against a team that ran a lot of sim pressures. I can't remember which one, but I think like kind of along those lines, you gotta play the variance game a little bit. If you're San Francisco, like sometimes they're gonna come and you're gonna take a sack, and I think you just kind of have to live with that for hoping that when they don't or when they drop that you can be aggressive. I think like the Seahawks corners are very good, but I do think spreading things out is the way to go here. If I'm San Francisco, I just think if they try to do their like 21 personnel passing game, and obviously I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball well, I don't see that working with the same efficacy that it has against other teams.
How many points do the 49ers need to win this game? If they get 20, do they win?
I guess this is hard to say to answer that question, especially coming off of what you said, where it's like, you're right. The Seahawks did move the ball with ease. They struggled in the red zone, and they also like were really conservative. So like, I don't think 20 necessarily gets it done, but it could. I don't know. It's a tough one for me to answer. What do you think, Mina?
I mean, the Seattle really offensively should be better than what we saw the last time these teams played. I think the Seahawks run game improvement is pretty significant, and they ran the ball really well on San Francisco. I don't think the kicker, knock on wood, is going to miss those easy kicks again. So, I would say like a little bit more than that, but we'll see.
So, can I take us into fan fiction mode for a second?
Uh-oh.
So, Mina's screaming at her TV. There's 6 minutes left in the second quarter because first drive, Shanahan has genius script. He somehow schemes open. They march down the field. Purdy throws a touchdown pass. Sam Darnold comes out a little bit shaky. 3 and out. Punt back. Juwan Jennings, double pass, touchdown. It's 14-0. And now the question is like, can Ginger Cuz I knew you were just building not up meltdown? Because is there a world where you see that hypothetical coming where it's like everything is flipped now that he has to play from behind, or will they be like composed in this situation because they know they're considerably better than the 49ers?
I think this is it. That's how they will have to stop the run. They're gonna have to stop the run with their offense. So, if you take the run off the table because you get out to a big lead, of course, it'll be much more difficult. Ginger Cuz has the ability to do that against, that's the thing is it never feels like it's over against the 49ers defense, given that they are incredibly injured. And also, because of the injuries, they are also kind of undisciplined and, not very deceptive. It's just hard to build up some confidence that there's any lead that's safe, given debilitated that defense is right now. Like, yeah, I don't know. And I think Sam Darnold is going to have to, I think Mina alluded to this, is I have written down that he's going to have to make a free runner miss. Like, at some point in this game, they're going to blitz. He's going to have to make them miss and make an incredible play off of that. And maybe that's part of your hypothetical, is Sam Darnold making an excellent play that creates a touchdown. But there is no lead that I feel like is safe with the 49ers defense being as broken as they are.
Second mind's eye. You're starting to think that there's a world where you're going to look up, if you close your eyes now and you look up and it's February 8th and Sam Darnold, Ginger Cuz, is holding up the Lombardi Trophy.
Yeah, totally possible.
She didn't even have to close her eyes.
The wild card round is I started to think the same thing, Mina. Yeah. And I before the playoffs I didn't, but it really starting to feel like that's possible. I think they're a big beneficiary from how we viewed the NFC teams of the wild card round.
Yeah. All right.
Last one. Yeah.
Pats.